Top of the morning to you, whatever time of day it is, morning, noon, or night. It's a beautiful Saturday. We call it a successful Saturday. We're going to talk about five enemies this morning. Now, these five enemies are foundational to you when you're creating any level of success, significance, and impact. And for those of you, the fellow entrepreneurs in this space, the first enemy is rejection. Now, rejection has a couple of sides to it. The first aspect of rejection is your ability to go out and gather and collect as much rejection as you possibly can. Because some of the most successful people in the world are the most rejected people in the world. If you look at the elections, for example, whoever is elected president, there are literally millions of people who didn't vote for that person. So that person was literally rejected millions of times in their journey to hold the highest position in the land. One of my favorite entrepreneurs, his name is Byron Allen. Byron Allen is a multi-billionaire who has accumulated a portfolio of radio stations, television stations, different conglomerates. He is an incredibly successful businessman, and he gave the formula for the initial launch of his business when he had the idea. And that idea was to sit at the kitchen table. Literally, he sat at the kitchen table for 1 year, and this man dialed 50,000 phone numbers. 50,000 calls he made. He is a multi-billionaire today. And I'll put the interview where he breaks this down. But guess what? He was rejected a lot. He had a lot of competition to become a television program owner, a television station owner, a radio station owner. But he understood the law of numbers, and he was willing to do what? Gather, embrace, and collect as much rejection as he possibly could. So that's the external side of rejection, enemy number one. There's the internal side of rejection, which to me is much more devastating, and that is internal rejection. You see, there are a lot of people that want more for their life. They want to be in a better situation, they want to be in a better position, but they don't believe that they are worthy. They don't believe that they deserve. And so they literally will reject themselves. They literally will reject their own dream, their own hopes and goals and aspirations. And so the inner conversation that you're having with yourself is the most important conversation you're going to have all day, every day, and twice on Sunday. So your beliefs are going to dictate how you handle and respond to rejection. Now, some people take rejection and they internalize it. They take it personally. You call someone and you say, hey, listen, let me ask you a question. What are two things you don't have enough of? They're going to say, hey, time and money. Well, if I could show you something that could alleviate time and money so you could have more of both in your life, would you be able to take a look? Nah, I'm not really into all that stuff. I'm not open to that. Oh, wow. I guess they don't like me. Maybe this isn't going to work. Maybe I won't be successful. And so the person rejects themselves because they're internalizing somebody else's experience, but then they take that and make it their own, which makes absolutely no logical sense, right? So why would you allow one no to take away the biggest yes in your life? Why would you allow one person to completely derail the dreams that you have for your family? If you're a parent and you're watching this recording, you should be ashamed of yourself if you allow one individual to rob your family of all of the wealth and abundance that you could bring to them as a result of you being successful in your venture. So you don't ever allow someone to dictate how this game is going to be played. That is up to you. So once you know, hey, I don't take rejection personally, I don't internalize it, I don't identify with it, tell me yes, tell me no, tell me quick, I gotta go. Next. See, one of the theories I had when I lived in New York City, it was a beautiful theory, and I actually was like, I'm going to prove it. My thought process was very, very simple. I said, look, if I look to my left, right, back, forth, there's about easily 2 million people just, within a 8, 10, 20-mile radius, whatever, because New York is like that. And my thought process was very simple. This is when I had nobody. I hadn't recruited anybody. I was like, I can't be the only person in this city that wants freedom. I can't be the only person that believes in the power of leverage. I cannot be the only person that's passionate about residual passive income. There's got to be some other people that are just as crazy as me. And so I just did the odds, the probability. So I had to take stat 1 and stat 2 when I was in college. So I remember probability. I was like, well, the probability of me identifying at least, and this is me talking to myself, 1,000 people out of 2 million is about 90%. I knew I had a 90% probability of finding another 1,000 people that were just as crazy as me. And that's what kept me moving and excited. I can't tell you how many times people told me no. I can't tell you how many times I got rejected. I can't tell you how many times somebody hung up the phone. I'm talking and they hang up the phone, y'all. Like I'm not even there. They just hang up the phone. Like I have no idea because I wasn't focused on that. I was focusing on finding number 2, number 3, number 5. I was number 1. Let me find the second person, third person. Well, see, that thought process and that belief system and that relationship to rejection led me to another 80, 90,000 people just in that one city. In that one city, right? Well, I mean, maybe it was 60,000 because they had other people in other cities, but we had a solid base of tens of thousands of people in that one city, all right? Because I understood probability. So when you take your feelings out of it, you all take your feelings out of it. Stay out your feelings. Ain't no money in there. There ain't no money in your feelings. Stay out your feelings. If you make decisions based on your emotions and your feelings, 9 times out of 10, you're going to make some bad decisions. This is why the funeral business and the wedding business make so much money, because people are the most emotional and they make really ridiculous decisions. Like they spending literally tens and tens of thousands of dollars on stuff they got no business spending it on. But that's another story for another day. So that's rejection, all right? So you understand, number 1, I will never reject my dream. I will never reject a better future for my family. I will never reject a better version of myself. I will never internalize somebody else's issues and get them confused with my own or take them on as my own. I will stay steadfast and true to the path of which I have committed, which is a greater outcome for my life, for my business, for my family, and for the leader that I am looking for, and that leader is me. And once you start to take on the behavior of the ideal leader that you would resonate with, the ideal leader that you would love to recruit in your business, the ideal leader that you'd love to be in the trenches with, shoulder to shoulder, back to back, you become that, and then you will attract it. You don't look for that, you become it, and you will attract it. So enemy number 1 is rejection. Enemy number 2, deception. Deception. We are all masters of self-deception. So again, there's 2 sides to the coin. The most insidious one is self-deception. Ed, I'm working hard, man. I'm out here. I'm making it do what it do. Compared to who? You're working hard compared to who? How many exposures did you actually do today? How many people did you actually have a conversation with about your business and your opportunity today? In the last 24 to 48 hours, I'm willing to bet that I got double the numbers that you do. And I have no idea how many people you talk to, but I bet you I got double. And you know what? I might be working 12, 14 hours a day on something else. And I'm doing my business part-time, and I'm still going to outwork you. So stop thinking that I'm working so hard, and I called people, and everyone said no. Well, who's everyone? Like, how many people have you talked to? And I do this often. I'll go through people's phones, and I'm like, okay, let's just go through the alphabet. What do they say? What do they say? Oh, I haven't talked to that person yet. What about them? Oh, I haven't called them yet. They didn't call me back. What about this person? I left them a message. I haven't talked to them yet. What about this person? I text them, but I'm still waiting for them to respond. Okay, so you really have talked to like 2 people out of 20, but everybody said no. So we're masters of self-deception because the brain, now watch this, your brain is designed to find the escape hatch. Your brain is designed to find the escape hatch. Your brain is always looking for a way out. So you say, right, everybody's lips are moving in the beginning. I want to do this, I want to do that. Yeah, I want to make passive income. I want to make more money in a month of what I make on my job in a year. We get exposed to individuals who are already having a great year every week in our business. And we see that, we know it's happening in real time right now, and we see that it's available, but then we will take the escape hatch. We look for a way out. I'm too busy. I thought I could do this, but I don't have enough time. I thought I could do this, but I got too much on my plate. I thought I could do this, but I'm overwhelmed. I thought I could do this, but my kids need me, and my spouse needs me, and I got to do this with the house, and then boom, because that's the automatic. That's your default setting. Okay, your default setting is to look for a way back to the comfort zone. And if you look for a way back to the comfort zone, your comfort zone is your broke zone. You can't grow in that space. You have to be willing to change and adapt. So the self-deception will kick in and you will fall into line with those beliefs. So look at the word belief, okay? When you look at the word belief, the three letters in the middle is what? L-I-E. Lie. It's a lie. So whatever your belief is, it's a lie. The question is it an empowering belief or is it a disempowering belief? And when it comes to deception, 99.999% of the people are going to fall into the disempowering belief. They're going to find and identify a belief that will support their excuses, will give them a way out, will allow them to procrastinate on taking action, will make the phone look like this 25-pound, gorilla that they don't want to pick up because they're psyching themselves out. Well, now's not a good time to call. It's too late. It's too early. It's the middle of the day. They might be on the lunch break. Maybe I should wait until this time. And so people talk themselves out of opportunities all the time to build their business. That's self-deception, also known as self-sabotage. So be mindful of what your beliefs are. Are your beliefs empowering or are they disempowering? I am a make it happen captain. I am the leader that leaders and others are and have been looking for. I go out and I attract 5-star prospects, recruits, and self-starters into my business every single day. People call and reach out to me to get started in my business. That's my belief system. What's yours? That's my inner conversation. What's yours? I am, what's the, I'm trying to remember the start of this. Why am I blanking on it? It's going to come to me. It's going to come to me. It's on my phone, but I can't use my phone right now. It's so good too, but it's a mantra. But I'll give you a couple of examples while I'm trying to think of it. So this is the true joy in life, being used by a purpose recognized by myself as a mighty one. I would rather be a force of nature instead of a feverish, selfish little cloud of ailments and grievances complaining that the world will not devote itself to making me happy. I'm of the opinion that my life belongs to the whole community. And I want to give my life to it as long as I live. For the harder I work, the more I live. I rejoice in life for its own sake. Life is no brief candle to me. It is a sort of splendid torch, which I've got hold of for the moment, and I want to make it burn as brightly as possible before passing it on to future generations. See, that's something that I speak and I think and I live and I breathe every single day. That's a part of my belief system. Remember when you were a kid and you would get so excited? And maybe it wasn't Santa Claus. Maybe it was something else. Maybe it was the Easter Bunny. Maybe it was the Tooth Fairy. But you would get excited because you had a belief. It doesn't matter that it wasn't real. It only mattered that you believed in it and you behaved accordingly. Your whole state changed. Your energy changed. The way that you interacted with people that morning, it was like, your vibration was on 10. And people wanted to be around that. It's the same thing in your life, you all. So, be mindful of self-deception. Externally, people are going to lie to you. They're going to lie to you. Oh yeah, I'm in it to win it. Let's go, man. We're going to take over the world. And you'll never see them again. Some of the people that get started in your business, it's the first and last thing they'll ever do is get started. They'll sign up and then you'll never see them again. That's just human nature. You have to understand that. You can't take that personally. Some people are going to schedule an appointment, then they won't show up for the appointment. You're going to set up a meeting at Starbucks, they're not going to be there. This is why I always double book whatever I can. So if someone is like, hey, can we meet at so-and-so? Yeah, 11 o'clock. I'm double booking somebody else in that same slot. I would rather have two prospects show up than have just make an appointment for one, and I show up and that one person's not there. And it's fine. I'm just going to make calls anyway. I know how to convert the time, but I believe in double booking because I know human beings. They're very predictable. The patterns of behavior are very predictable. And you cannot take this stuff personally. Ed, I'm sick and tired of my job. I want to make more money. I would love to have a passive income of at least, let me just start with $10,000 a month. That seems to be the magic number for most people, by the way. That's it's a gauge. It allows them to start to have some breathing room and some freedom. Yeah, I want to make $10,000 a month. Okay, no problem. Well, let's get to work. Let's make some calls. Let's do some three-ways. Let's make it do what it do. And you won't hear from them for weeks. And it's okay. You cannot take this personally. What you have to understand is that people are born to win and programmed to fail. They are born to win and programmed to fail. So when they show up and they're not keeping their word, they're not in integrity, they are lying to themselves, to you, you have to just keep it moving. And my door is always open. I would never close my door to someone. They know that when they are in the right headspace, they can come and get to work. And so I'm not tripping on that. I got to find what? I got to look for people who are looking. My job is to identify that next number two who as crazy as I am. And when I find that number two, then I got to go find a number three. And there's a phrase in my favorite book. It says where there are two or three strands, then it becomes unbreakable. I'm messing up the phrase, but it's unbreakable. If there are two or three gathered in my name, you got something. In our business, if you have two or three individuals who are true believers, who are sold out servants, who are make it happen captains, two or three people will bring tens of thousands. Tens of thousands. If you identify 6 individuals who are just as crazy as you, okay, including you, so let's make it 5. You get a starting 5, you got 5 leaders, you will never, ever, ever have to worry about money for the rest of your life. I'm going to say that again because some of y'all missed it. Go ahead and rewind that part. 6 people, including yourself, who are make it happen captains. You will never, ever, ever have to think about money. It will never be an issue for the rest of your life. So deception is on 2 sides. Internal self-deception. You think you're working hard compared to who? You think you got issues. You think you got challenges. You think you got distractions. You think you got excuses compared to who? So stop lying to yourself. And if you're going to have a belief, make it an empowering belief instead of a disempowering belief. And then external deception. People are going to lie to you. They're not going to show up. They're going to say one thing and do another. That's just human nature. And some people, guess what? Do you understand that this business and the organization that we're building and the culture that we have, I'm just talking about 2% Nation. The culture that we're cultivating, for some people, it will be the first time in a long time they've been held accountable for just being in integrity, for simply just doing what you say you're going to do. Because they haven't been held to account for forever, because unfortunately, being out of integrity is a way of life for a lot of people. Not dreaming, not cultivating a vision, a greater vision for your life, and spending time with that vision. People don't do that. They're going to come into this space and they'll be like, wow, man, I haven't done this, or I've never done this before. I never really put 2 and 2 together. Everything is created twice, first in here and then out here. And maybe it would be a good idea to spend some time building and cultivating my vision for where there is no vision, the people will perish. So maybe I should focus and cultivate a vision and communicate and cast that vision when I'm having the conversations. And then perhaps I'll start to get better outcomes when it comes to recruiting and building my business. This is why when I'm having conversations and I'm talking to people, I want to know, what's the dream, baby? What? Tell me your dream. Are you living the dream? What is your dream? Tell me your vision. What's the outcome? What does that house, the ideal house, look like for you and your family? Maybe you want a 10-room house and a 9-bedroom spot with a guest house in the back because you want to put all your people on. Tell me the dream. And then let's talk about how you're going to get there, because 9 times out of 10, you don't have a way, but I do. So that's how I like to start off the conversation, getting people back in that space, because you know what? So many people have been beat down by life. So many people have been taken over by life. And it's through no conscious decision and making a mechanism of their own. It's a reflex. It's a default setting. Life is running them instead of them running their lives. So we, as leaders, have to go in understanding this is just the way it's set up. Third enemy is apathy. Apathy. People are lazy, y'all. They lazy. All right. So again, it's got 2 sides to it. Internal laziness. Folk are just lazy. Now, they will prioritize, and they will go and show up for their jobs because they have to, because they need that paycheck. So they'll sacrifice, they'll get up early, stay late, they'll do whatever they got to do. They'll make sure the kids got, they'll drop the kids off early. They have babysitters. They do whatever they got to do to be on that job. Okay. And they will make sure the kids get to soccer practice and swimming and ice skating and basketball and piano lesson. They're going to do all that. Okay. I'm talking to myself too. We're going to do all that. But when it comes to being driven by the dream, they have taken their dream and they've put it way down on the priority list. And so when it comes to having some juice for that dream, they got nothing left. And then they procrastinate. I'll do it tomorrow. I'm tired. I've been running around all day. My job had me working an extra 2-3 hours. I got 5 different projects I got to close by the end of the month. My job this, my job that. And then on top of that, my kids ain't acting right. They ain't got no good sense this week, getting on my doggone nerves. My spouse is acting like a fool. I'm just tired. And so apathy sets in, laziness, excuses, and then they disengage or don't even begin. They don't even start. They don't even make it a priority, their business, because the business is what's going to get them to the dream. Now, the irony is this. They're giving the majority of their energy to something that will never get them what they want. So if you work at a job, and it doesn't matter to me if you love your job or not, because mostly your job doesn't love you. Doesn't matter to me. But if you're working your job and you know for a fact that you could never ever get freedom from your job, but you're giving it everything you got, and then your dream, and you have your business, and your business can get you your dream, and you give it little to nothing, and then people wonder why, they just quietly go off into the night, silently creeping into the gravestone of regret, the gravestone of missed opportunity, the gravestone of excuses. And here's the scariest part. This is what keeps me going. One of the greatest fears that I have is meeting my maker, and then I get a chance to see the man I could have been. That scares the living crap out of me. Leaving something on the table. I'm not doing that. If I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. And I'm going to put everything I have into it, because I understand the law of numbers. I understand the law of probability, but I also understand the law of leadership. And when you're moving from that spirit, there's nothing you can't do. I'm just looking for some more crazy folk. So apathy is a real thing. And if you're lazy, you got no shot. Okay, if you're lazy, forget about it. This is when I knew I was going to be like super successful, because most people are lazy. They just lazy, like especially in America. Americans are self-entitled. They are, there's a lot of victimhood. There's a lot of laziness. I mean, my gosh, this time and this age that we live in right now, if you have the right vehicle, which is 3, if you have the right vehicle, the right business, and you are with the right people, like when you're in alignment with a Kim Wee, Samson Lee, you got individuals like that, it's lights out, it's game over. There's no way you cannot win because most people are wimps. and the rest of them are just looking for somebody that can lead them. And once you identify that in yourself, it's a wrap. So that's enemy number 3. It's apathy. People that you're going to think this person could really use the business. This person could really use some extra income. The person that you think could benefit the most is going to want it the least. The person you think that it could benefit the most is going to want it the least. Why? Because they have resigned themselves to a life of mediocrity. They have poverty thinking. There's a difference between being broke, which is temporary, and being poor, which is permanent. That's a mindset. So I have never in my life not done something because I didn't have the money. I've never, ever. See, let me put it in perspective for you. Every single year, 17-year-old kids get accepted into some sort of college or university. And that college or university has a price tag of anywhere from $45,000 to $125,000. And do you understand that every year a bunch of 17-year-old kids figure out a way to make it happen, even though they don't have a dime to their name? They figure out a way to get into that college. They're going to go. They're going to find that money. They're going to make it happen. They ain't got no money at all in their bank account, but they're going to make it happen. They don't say, oh, that's too much. How am I going to find 45,000, 120? How am I going to? They figure it out. They make it happen. So you can't tell me that a 17-year-old has more capacity than a grown-up and an adult to start a business for less than the average franchise tag is somewhere between $65,000 to $100,000 to start a franchise. The average. And our business is significantly less than that. So the people that you think could use it, they're not going to want it. I'm looking for the hungry lions who want that some of that time back. I'm looking for the competitors who want to get what they're worth in the marketplace. I'm sick and tired of being overworked and underpaid and undervalued. I love my job. My job doesn't love me. I love the people I work with, but my job doesn't love me. I love the children that I serve, but my job doesn't love me. I love the patients that I can help, but my job doesn't love me. And so in order for me to continue to do the things that I like doing, I want to make so much money with my business that my job becomes optional. And then I can just volunteer. Then I can do the things that I want to do. I can continue to serve and I can continue to teach and empower young people and help patients and do all of that. But money's not the issue. So apathy, that's a part of it. Don't take it personal. You can anticipate it. Part of what we're going to do is really cultivate strong work ethic. And we do that by being the example. 4th enemy, attrition. Attrition. People are going to quit. We live in a nation of quitters. People quit everything. When the first week that I was in school, we had Crown Forum at Morehouse College. And the speaker said, look to your left, look to your right. Those 2 people, they're not going to be here when you graduate. So 2 of y'all out of the 3 ain't going to make it to graduation. I was like, he ain't talking to me. I know you're not talking to me. So I understood that the class I started with was going to be this size, and by the time we graduated, it was going to be this size. That's just the way it is. It's the war of attrition. You got to weed people out. You got to weed the weak people out. This is how the recruiters find talented people. This is how universities graduate top performers and peak performers. This is how sports franchises continue to have success, because they got to weed out the weak people, the people that keep making the mistakes, the people that are not putting in the work, the people that are doing what? They're rejecting themselves with limiting beliefs. They're lying to themselves about their work ethic, and they flat out lazy. They got to get rid of all those people, find the superstars, the hard workers, the hungry lions, and then they make it do what it do. So understand, attrition is a part of it. People are going to quit. You cannot take that personal. Next. Now, internally, the other side of attrition is people quit on themselves all the time, all day, every day. And that's much more damaging than external. So people give up on their dreams. Here's my question. If not this, then what? If not now, then when? And so you have the dream. See, you can't tell me that you have a dream and a goal and a desire, and then you want to quit. So I'm like, well, where are you going? What's your option? I don't have an option. So what does that look like? It means, Ed, that I'm going to go to my grave with unfinished business. It means that when my kids look at me, they're going to see somebody who's settled, somebody who decided to just live a mediocre life. They're going to see somebody who created a story, a narrative to support my self-deception. Oh, I'm really, I'm loved on my job. I know I don't get paid what I'm worth, but it sure is rewarding. And people, they look up to me, they respect me. Yeah, because you're not going any further than they are. Misery loves company. Like, you're not aspiring. I have a friend, was a principal, still is a principal, 10 years without a raise. 10 years without a raise. What signal are you sending to your troops that you would accept being devalued for 10 years? Well, they love me. Of course they love you, because you're not aspiring to any more than they are. All of y'all are being overworked and underpaid. All of y'all are living paycheck to paycheck. You know good and doggone well you are worth more than that little $100,000, $120,000 they're paying you a year. You know you're worth more than that. Go get what you're worth. But instead of focusing and understanding and giving permission to go after what they want, they settle for their need. Ladies and gentlemen, you will never change the game just paying your bills. I understand you have a job or you got something, you got a situation that you're paying your bills every month. You ain't never going to change to move the needle. That's not, if you believe, okay? I will hear the voice of the Holy Spirit within. I will lead and not follow. I will create and not destroy. I am loved by God. I am chosen by God. I am protected by God. So that's another one of those. I was trying to remember that before. See, if you have and serve a higher power that is small, that is timid, that is fearful, that is weak, then that's your God. Like, have at it. That's not my God. I'm not here saying that this is not a sermon. But if you believe in a higher power, for those of you that do, is your God a God of all things that are possible, or is your God puny and weak and whiny and making excuses? Like, you got to figure out which God is you're going to serve, because the willingness to resign yourself to a life of mediocrity and to not go after your dream is a slap in the face of God. It's like you're slapping God in the face, because God has given you all of these capacities and you're like, it's too hard. Well, yeah, anything worth having is going to be hard. So when I see people quit on themselves, it's the most devastating thing for me. And I learned early on that I'm going to have my heart broken again and again and again, and it's okay. Because I have to keep my heart open in order to have it broken. But I will never close my heart, because there are people that are going to come into that space and they're going to have open hearts like I do, and we're going to go out here, we're going to change the world. We're going to make the vision a reality. So I cannot allow myself to get off course or to be derailed by people who have quit on themselves. As much as that devastates me, and I hate to see that, and I feel so much pain for that person, because listen, you're gonna be dead a lot longer than you alive. You know that, right? You're gonna be dead a long time, so much longer than you alive. So when I see that person that quits, that's eternal, you all. Like, that's heavy if you really think about that. I'm going to my grave a freaking quitter. Like, it just, like, the hairs are, the little tiny hairs, you can't see them. The little tiny hairs are standing up on the back of my neck. Like, it really, like, that creeps me out. It really freaks me out. And it makes me very sad for those people. But that is what it is. I can't control. Kim says this to me all the time. She's like, I can't make someone want to be successful. She's like, this is my vision. I'm going to create 1,000 seven-figure earners. That's what I'm doing. But I can't make somebody want to be one of those 1,000. I'm like, yeah, that's true. You're right. But attritions, that's enemy number 4. Enemy number 5, dream stealers. Dream stealers, all right? And this ties into everything that I've been talking about. Because all 4 lead up to number 5. Because at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not driven by the dream, then what's driving you? Then life is driving you. Life is kind of dictating how you move, where you put your attention, how you allocate your energy. Life is dictating that instead of you dictating to life. When you're driven by the dream, doors open. When you're driven by the dream, the right people come into your life. When you're driven by the dream, the wrong people get out of your life. The wrong people get out of your life. When you're driven by the dream, miracles happen. When you're driven by the dream, you can impact your community. You can stimulate the economy in your neighborhood. You understand that? See, if you're generating an extra $50,000 a month in passive income, you have to find things to do with that money. So now you can put some additional people to work just for the sake of putting someone to work. You may not need someone to come and clean your home once a week, but you hire that person anyway because you're stimulating the economy in your neighborhood. You may not need to leave a $100 tip when you go in and get you a little salad, but you go ahead and leave that tip because you're going to bless somebody. You're going to change somebody's state. There's nothing. There's nothing as that will make you light up from the inside out than watching somebody's entire state change because you decided to be a blessing to that person. It's the most incredible thing to go out and just bless people because you can, because you didn't give up, because you stayed steadfast. You didn't reject yourself. You didn't deceive yourself. You didn't fall into apathy and laziness. You didn't quit on yourself. You were driven by the dream, and you didn't allow anybody else to steal that dream. You've been working really hard, and I'm not seeing a lot of results. I mean, how long are you going to go? I'm going to do it until. And when I start getting results, I'm going to do more of that. Because the hardest thing is to commit to the unknown. You see, when you're in the ocean, ladies and gentlemen, and you got to get back to shore, do you say to yourself, I wonder how many strokes I'm going to have to swim before I get back to shore? Because if it's too many, I'm just going to drown. You don't know. You keep swimming until you get to shore. You don't count the strokes. You're committed to the outcome. You know you're going to get your feet back on land because if you don't, you're going to die. See, you got to have that attitude when it comes to your business. I'm winning. That is it. It's until I win. It's not over until I win. The great Les Brown wrote a book. It's not over until I win. And when you bring that energy and that attitude, you're going to attract the right people. You're going to find the right people. They're going to think, I'm in, let's go. Like, shoot, if I just get next to you and get some of that, I'm going to win too. That rubs off on people. So the dream stealers, they're there. And they don't mean, most of them don't mean any harm. They just can't see the vision. They don't see it because they can't see it for themselves. If you're talking to someone who's never broken through, who's never done anything of any significance, you can't expect them to understand the vision. You can see why they'd be like, well, I don't understand why you work. Like, I work hard, Ed. I get a paycheck. I get my little paycheck every 2 weeks. And I work hard. You've been working for 4 weeks. How much money have you made? Now, they ain't going to say that to me because I've made more than them. But like, in the beginning, for most people, yeah, you're not going to make a lot in your first 4 weeks. But that's what it is. Because you're learning, you're building, you're growing. Now, I need to properly edify the compensation. The way compensation works in our business is that it allows you to stay afloat. And here's what I mean. The way our business works is about leverage. So as we bring someone into our business and we're teaching them how to share it and how to recruit and build a team, and then we go through that person and find somebody else to do the same thing. That takes a little bit of time. So as we're building a tree, remember, you want a tree that has deep roots. A tree that has deep roots has a very strong foundation and will stand the test of time. So that takes time to establish those roots. As I'm establishing those roots, the way the compensation works, it says, hey, when you bring in a founder, founder's running out, by the way, so this video will be time-stamped. As the founders are being cultivated, I get an upfront commission. It's a one-time commission, but it keeps me afloat. So I enroll one founder a day, it's $350 a day that I can earn. $350 a day times 7 is $2,000 a week. $2,000 times 4 weeks is $8,000 a month. That will keep you afloat. That's some cash flow so you can continue to focus on building your business, okay? But the real income, the real money comes as you're building and helping people to establish their roots as they're planting their trees, okay? But that's how business works. Now, listen, most businesses actually, let me rephrase that. That's how our business works. Most businesses, you're in the negative for years. If I spend $100,000 on a franchise, I'm not making that back in my first 2 years. You understand that? I'm not. You're going to be on the losing end. You will be in the red for the first 2 years. Now, for some reason, people don't go to the person that just bought there's a franchise called Free Signs, I think it is. It's a print shop, Sign something. But that's a $300,000 price tag. They don't walk to that person and say, hey, you've been running this brick and mortar business for 2 years. You still ain't made the $300,000 back? You still in the negative? You still in debt? You a fool, right? But in reality, they're not going to make more than about 80 grand in the first 2 years. But that's okay. But somebody's going to come to you after 4 weeks and have something to say. And anyone that has something to say, by the way, if there's a dream stealer that comes across your path, they're not a successful entrepreneur. They've never become a 7-figure earner. They've never created 7-figure earners. So they have no authority or no ground to stand on anyway. But that's the reality of it. That's enemy number 5. So these are the 5 enemies, ladies and gentlemen. And when you understand the 5 enemies and you move with that understanding, it makes life so much more enjoyable because you can anticipate. We train because in the training room and the things that are shared in the training space, they're so raw and real and make you so mentally tough that when you're actually doing your business and you're out in the trenches and you're recruiting and you're prospecting, it's easy. It's easy because we can't anticipate. Training is about anticipation. Training is about preparation. Training is about understanding. And the skill set that's required to implement what we just shared, these 5 simple enemies. And by the way, you can share this with anyone in business. It's not just only for those of us in our business. Any entrepreneur, this is going to apply. These 5 principles, these 5 enemies. When you are moving with that level of understanding, you're a much more effective communicator. You're a much more impactful leader. And now you can pass that on to the organization that you're cultivating. So everybody's speaking the same language. Everybody is of one mind. And the stronger and more unified we are up here, the more unstoppable we are out there. So keep programming yourself for success. I have shared The Strangest Secret, and you want to listen to that at least once a day. I have shared Jim Rohn's Building Your Network Marketing Business. You want to listen to that at least once a day. Just as you're going throughout your day, trust me, I know y'all are scrolling. I know some of y'all got streaming and Netflix and Amazon. I know y'all got time. Don't tell me you ain't got time. You got time. So if you're listening to those things at least once a day, you're fortifying your spirit. Your spirit's got to be fortified because you got to go out into this world and deal with what? The 98%. The reason we're called 2% nation is because 98% of the population is going to be dead broke, and have to be dependent upon family, friends, and the government by the time they hit retirement. only 2% of the population is going to be financially viable and or financially free. I know what percentage I want to be in. What about you? So you got to start thinking and moving like a 2%er in everything that you do. And when you understand that and you're talking to a 98%er, most 98%ers, they don't want to stay there. They just don't know how to get out. They don't know how to transition because nobody's having the conversation with them. Nobody's shaking them and waking them up and like, listen, aren't you tired of being overworked and underpaid? Have you thought about your retirement? Have you thought about how the economy is going to be tanking in the next 2 to 3 to 4 years? Have you thought about when Social Security runs out? Have you thought about any of that? Are you planning for your financial future, or are you just living check to check because you're in survival mode? 2%ers are in thriving mode. 2%ers live from up here, the vision, not the current circumstance. Our vision is always greater than our current circumstance. So those are the 5 enemies again: rejection, deception, apathy, attrition, dream stealers, and most importantly, don't you ever, ever steal your own dream. Don't you be that culprit. If there's no inner me, if there's no enemy within, the enemy outside can do us no harm. Have an awesome and successful Saturday. We'll see you next week. Actually, we'll be back Monday morning, 9 a.m. for the kickoff week call. Have a great weekend. We'll see you soon.